Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Get off the ground. Who started this company? Bulge outward. The time at which something is supposed to begin. They got an early start. Begin work or acting in a certain capacity, office or job. Start a new job. Get going or set in motion. We simply could not start the engine. A line indicating the location of the start of a race or a game. Have a beginning, in a temporal, spatial, or evaluative sense. Prices for these homes start at $250,000. A signal to begin, as in a race. The starting signal was a green light. Bring into being. A turn to be a starter, in a game at the beginning. He got his start because one of the regular pitchers was in the hospital. Set in motion, cause to start. The U.S. started a war in the Middle East. Take the first step or steps in carrying out an action. Who will start? Begin an event that is implied and limited by the nature or inherent function of the direct object. She started the soup while it was still hot. A sudden involuntary movement. He awoke with a start. Begin or set in motion. I start at 8 in the morning. Have a beginning characterized in some specified way. Leave. Move or jump suddenly, as if in surprise or alarm. She startled when I walked into the room. The advantage gained by beginning early, as in a race. With an hour's start he will be hard to catch. The act of starting something. Play in the starting lineup. The beginning of anything. It was off to a good start. Get off the ground. Set in motion, cause to start. Take the first step or steps in carrying out an action. Get off the ground. Get off the ground. Get going or set in motion. Start up the computer. Bulge outward. Swell or protrude outwards. His stomach bulged after the huge meal. Bulge outward. Cause to bulge or swell outwards. Bulge out. Form a bulge outward, or be so full as to appear to bulge. Something that bulges out or is protuberant or projects from its surroundings. The gun in his pocket made an obvious bulge. Bulge outward. Bulge outward. Come out of. The words seem to come out by themselves. Break out. Be issued or published. The new Woody Allen film hasn't come out yet. Make oneself visible. Take action. Take a place in a competition, often followed by an ordinal. To state openly and publicly one's homosexuality. Come off. Be made known. Be disclosed or revealed. Appear or become visible. Make a showing. Result or end. Bulge outward. His eyes popped. An informal term for a father, probably derived from baby talk. Music of general appeal to teenagers. A bland watered-down version of rock and roll with more rhythm and harmony and an emphasis on romantic love. A sharp explosive sound as from a gunshot or drawing a cork. A sweet drink containing carbonated water and flavoring. Of music or art, new and of general appeal, especially among young people. Drink down entirely. They popped a few beer after work. Appear suddenly or unexpectedly. The farm popped into view as we turned the corner. Burst open with a sharp, explosive sound. The balloon popped. Cause to burst with a loud, explosive sound. The child popped the balloon. Cause to make a sharp explosive sound. He popped the champagne bottle. Fire a weapon with a loud explosive noise. The soldiers were popping. Hit a pop fly. He popped out to shortstop. Hit or strike. He popped me on the head. Make a sharp explosive noise. The cork of the champagne bottle popped. Put or thrust suddenly and forcefully. Pop the pizza into the microwave oven. Release suddenly. Pop the clutch. Take drugs, especially orally. The man charged with murder popped a Valium to calm his nerves. Bulge outward. Appear suddenly. Come out suddenly or forcefully. Exit briefly. Swell or protrude outwards. Bulge outward. Extend out or project in space. Serving to begin. The beginning canto of the poem. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. The Italian beginning of the Renaissance. The act of starting something. He was responsible for the beginning of negotiations. The event consisting of the start of something. The beginning of the war. The first part or section of something. It was a dark and stormy night, is a hackneyed beginning for a story. The time at which something is supposed to begin. An academic exercise in which diplomas are conferred. The act of starting something. The fielding position of the player on a baseball team who is stationed at first of the bases in the infield, counting counterclockwise from home plate. Indicating the beginning unit in a series. Serving to set in motion. His first, or maiden, speech in Congress. Serving to begin. The first verse. The time at which something is supposed to begin. Ranking above all others. Was first in her class. Prominently forward. The lowest forward gear ratio in the gearbox of a motor vehicle, used to start a car moving. The first element in a countable series. The first of the month. Before anything else. First we must consider the garter snake. The first or highest in an ordering or series. He wanted to be the first. An honors degree of the highest class. Highest in pitch or chief among parts or voices or instruments or orchestra sections. First soprano. preceding all others in time or space or degree. The first house on the right. The time at which something is supposed to begin. She knew from the get-go that he was the man for her. The time at which something is supposed to begin. A start given to contestants. I was there with my parents at the kickoff. Football. A kick from the center of the field to start a football game or to resume it after a score. The time at which something is supposed to begin. Make up for. His skills offset his opponent's superior strength. A natural consequence of development. Structure where a wall or building narrows abruptly. Compensate for or counterbalance. Offset deposits and withdrawals. A plate makes an inked impression on a rubber blanketed cylinder, which in turn transfers it to the paper. A compensating equivalent. A horizontal branch from the base of plant that produces new plants from buds at its tips. Cause, printed matter, to transfer or smear onto another surface. Create an offset in. Offset a wall. Produce by offset printing. Offset the conference proceedings. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The time at which something is supposed to begin. The time at which something is supposed to begin. Take up a liquid or a gas either by adsorption or by absorption. Begin work or acting in a certain capacity, office or job. Adopt. Take up new ideas. Return to a previous location or condition. Take up and practice as one's own. Accept. Take out or up with or as if with a scoop. Take in, also metaphorically. Take up as if with a sponge. Occupy or take on. Pursue or resume. Take up a matter for consideration. Take up time or space. Take up the slack. Turn one's interest to. A line indicating the location of the start of a race or a game. A depression scratched or carved into a surface. Informal terms for money. Cause friction. My sweater scratches. An indication of damage. Carve, cut, or etch into a material or surface. The lovers scratched their names into the bark of the tree. Dry mash for poultry. Remove by erasing or crossing out or as if by drawing a line. Scratch that remark. A harsh noise made by scraping. An abraded area where the skin is torn or worn off. Scrape or rub as if to relieve itching. Don't scratch your insect bites. Gather, money or other resources, together over time. They scratched a meager living. Postpone indefinitely or annul something that was scheduled. Scratch that meeting. The chair is ill. Poor handwriting. Cut the surface of. Wear away the surface of. A competitor who has withdrawn from competition. Golf. A handicap of 0 strokes. A golfer who plays at scratch should be able to achieve par on a course. A line indicating the location of the start of a race or a game. A line indicating the location of the start of a race or a game. Have a beginning, in a temporal, spatial, or evaluative sense. The DMZ begins right over the hill. Set in motion, cause to start. Begin a new chapter in your life. Take the first step or steps in carrying out an action. Begin an event that is implied and limited by the nature or inherent function of the direct object. Begin a cigar. Have a beginning characterized in some specified way. The novel begins with a murder. Israeli statesman, born in Russia, who, as Prime Minister of Israel, negotiated a peace treaty with Anwar Sadat, then the President of Egypt, 1913 to 1992. Achieve or accomplish in the least degree, usually used in the negative. This economic measure doesn't even begin to deal with the problem of inflation. Begin to speak or say. Begin to speak, understand, read, and write a language. Be the first item or point, constitute the beginning or start, come first in a series. The number 1 begins the sequence. Have a beginning, of a temporal event. The company's Asia tour begins next month. A signal to begin, as in a race. The starting signal was a green light. Someone new to a field or activity. Bring up a topic for discussion. Bring into being. He initiated a new program. People who have been introduced to the mysteries of some field or activity. It is very familiar to the initiate. Accept people into an exclusive society or group, usually with some right. African men are initiated when they reach puberty. Someone who has been admitted to membership in a scholarly field. Set in motion, start an event or prepare the way for. Take the lead or initiative in, participate in the development of. Bring into being. Come into existence, take on form or shape. A new religious movement originated in that country. Begin a trip at a certain point, as of a plane, train, bus, etc. The flight originates in Calcutta. A turn to be a starter, in a game at the beginning. His starting meant that the coach thought he was one of their best linemen. Appropriate to the beginning or start of an event. The starting point. Especially of eyes, bulging or protruding as with fear. With eyes starting from their sockets. Set in motion, cause to start. Teach immoral behavior to. It was common practice to lead off the young ones, and teach them bad habits. Reach with a blow or hit in a particular spot. Come to have or undergo a change of physical features and attributes. Leave immediately. Used usually in the imperative form. Perceive by hearing. She didn't get his name when they met the first time. Undergo, as of injuries and illnesses. Make, offspring, by reproduction. Give certain properties to something. Get someone mad. Be a mystery or bewildering to. Suffer from the receipt of. Receive as a retribution or punishment. Take vengeance on or get even. We'll get them. Achieve a point or goal. Move into a desired direction of discourse. Go through mental or physical states or experiences. Get an idea. Irritate. Her childish behavior really get to me. Take the first step or steps in carrying out an action. Let's get down to work now. Succeed in catching or seizing, especially after a chase. Apprehend and reproduce accurately. Enter or assume a certain state or condition. It must be getting more serious. Attract and fix. Receive a specified treatment, abstract. Earn or achieve a base by being walked by the pitcher. Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Cause to move. Cause to be in a certain position or condition. Come into the possession of something concrete or abstract. Cause to do. Cause to act in a specified manner. Reach a destination. Arrive by movement or progress. She didn't get to Chicago until after midnight. Go or come after and bring or take back. Grasp with the mind or develop an understanding of. Did you get it? Acquire as a result of some effort or action. You cannot get water out of a stone. A return on a shot that seemed impossible to reach and would normally have resulted in a point for the opponent. Communicate with a place or person. Establish communication with, as if by telephone. The operator couldn't get Kobe because of the earthquake. Evoke an emotional response. Brahms's Requiem gets me every time. Overcome or destroy. Purchase. What did you get at the toy store? Reach and board. Reach by calculation. What do you get when you add up these numbers?
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.